All right, so I want to take a look at Bitcoin right here. This is our yearly open. The yearly open, okay, at the beginning of 2022, Bitcoin opened at $46,195. And, you know, again, you know, I have to say, personally, even for myself, I was expecting it to be a little bit higher than in the 40s, okay? I was expecting it to be, I thought we were going to see close to a $100,000 Bitcoin by the end of the year, but clearly that has not happened. And I do want to take a look at the BLX chart right here. This is the history of Bitcoin. I have it on log scale right now from its inception all the way back on July 2010 to the current day. And I do want to point out the fact that we have been respecting this trend line since 2015, where really we've been trading along the trend line. And then when we had the bull market, we came up, fell right back down onto the trend line. And then in the 2019, where we had the pseudo bull market, right? Then we came back down, tested the trend line again. And then, you know, in 2020, when we had the actual run up, you know, we came from that trend line. And I do want to point out, guys, that there is some interesting confluence. This is the monthly chart here. There is some interesting confluence where we do have, you know, all the way till the spring, we have this area where the golden pocket from the last low in the spring of 2020 lines up very nicely with this trend line. And I also want to just point out the fact that every time we do come and test this trend line, we don't bounce off of it perfectly. We kind of play around with it. We flirt with it, right? We're trying to maybe see if she'll go out on a date with us, right? We ask her, hey, do you like music? And we're hoping she'll say, yeah, because guess what? We like music too. And we're hoping if we both like music, perhaps this relationship can kind of go on a nice little uptrend before it ends in a blow off top, big argument, relationship crashes back down, right? So it is interesting. And before we get into the analysis, I just want to point out, guys, that there is a really nice confluence with the trend line and the golden pocket from the last major low in 2020. Okay, that being said, objectively speaking here, guys, objectively speaking, we are in a downtrend on Bitcoin from the all-time high that we put in on November 10th. Okay, the reason for that is because we have our high, we have our low. We then put in a lower high right here, and then we put in a lower low. Okay, then we put in a lower high right here. And this was a really interesting time. I remember it, guys, because, you know, I shorted from right here. And I even thought we were going to come in and put in a higher high on the daily time frame to maybe reverse market structure. Instead, we put in a lower high with a very, very intense rejection. That was actually even a trade that we did post in the VIP Discord because it was a very harsh rejection, right? Going back now, this was a very long time ago when we took that trade. But the VIP Discord, guys, this is a place where we post daily technical analysis updates as well as trade setups in advance. And that was one of the juicy setups that we were able to get simply because it was a very important level on the chart right here. This is the actual trade setup, shorting it right from there, right? This was the high, the previous high. Looks like maybe we're going to come take that out. But we had these two very important levels here, a daily level and then another daily level and a 786 level. And we're looking at the chart forming here. We're like, if we get bearish divergences on that 1 hour time frame as we come into here, we are going to get a rejection. And so this was the trade setup given in advance. And then of course, you know, we reject from that area. And I'm actually still in that short position, guys. I am still in a short from about 59K. So we are continuing in the downtrend here, right? We come in, we put in even a lower low. And all these highs that we've been putting in, we have been unable to put in a higher high on the daily time frame. And so objectively speaking, we are in a downtrend. And so if the old adage, right, to use that term, I don't know what the term adage means, guys. I don't know. I'm going to use it anyway, right? It makes me sound like I know what I'm talking about. The old adage, the trend is your friend until the end. Well, if we're in a downtrend here, and we have indeed put in lower lows and lower highs, then potentially we're going to put in another lower low. And that's something that we need to be aware of. However, Bitcoin has literally been trading in a sideways range since December 3rd. And the break of this range, in my opinion, is going to determine the direction of the Bitcoin price action for the following next few months. In other words, if we see the price of Bitcoin lose these important supports, then I can see us coming down lower. And if we see Bitcoin breaking this very important resistance here, then I can see us come higher. Okay, I want to take a look at some of these higher time frames, and I want to turn on my indicator Market Cipher B, because Market Cipher B is a momentum indicator, my favorite indicator. I don't enter any trade without looking at Market Cipher B. And what it does is it kind of shows us which direction price is going to head in, right? This is how we're able to get into trades. By the way, if you do want to join the VIP Discord, where we give the trade setups in advance, as well as the daily technical analysis updates that we post in here, giving the juiciest levels, the trade setups, all that kind of stuff, you can go to patreon.com/Jason Casper. But we can see over here on the monthly time frame, Market Cipher B, we have printed and confirmed at the end of December a bearish divergence on the monthly time frame. Now, the monthly time frame, we've been seeing this bearish divergence form for a long time here. We've been seeing it print all last month, right? But what we also see here is the money flow coming down. Now, if anybody doesn't know what a divergence is where price makes a higher high. So we can see right over here, we put in an initial high at about $65,000. Then we put in another high. Put in our first high at about 65K. We'll put in another high at about 69K. And meanwhile, while price is getting higher, we can see momentum getting lower. And also we can see money flow getting lower. Not only that, but we can see the VWAP making a lower high. So we have a triple monthly bearish divergence here. And this does have the potential to bring us down to much lower prices. And at the very least, in my opinion, guys, it has the potential to cause us to trade in a not so exciting market. Okay, in other words, more of a sideways market for quite some time. All right, and if that does happen, right, if we do get a bearish divergence on the monthly time frame, that does confirm, then look at what happened the last time we got one of those on the monthly time frame, right? Now this was a little bit of a different situation here, right? Because this was over a longer period of time, but then we had 1, 2, 3, 4 months of basically just nothingness, right? 4 months of consolidation. After confirmation, we confirmed we had 1, 2, about 3 months of very sideways price action. So we have confirmation. If we have another 3 or 4 months of sideways price action, that's going to bring us to January, February, March. Between March and April, guys, where we will have consolidation and or kind of a downward trend, okay? Now, the reason I'm bringing this up is because I do see that we have a lot of confluence around the trend line down here, right, where we have a very, very important area of support, an extremely important area of support, which is this Fibonacci golden pocket. Now, this is on log scale, just so everybody is aware. And so personally, one of the areas, if we are going to head into maybe a sideways kind of less exciting market, that I am looking for a potential massive buying opportunity, especially for my HODL Bitcoin portfolio, is pretty much anything under 30K. Because if we take a look at this golden pocket, we can see that, if we come into it, right, we will be taking out this very, very important low that we put in here just under $30,000. And if we come into this massive area of support, not only will we be touching this very important trend line, but we'll be coming into a very, very strong Fibonacci level of support, which would have allowed this bearish divergence, guys, to play out. And also, it would allow us to go from, if we're just looking at trend lines here, the most basic form of technical analysis, it will have allowed us to go from the high of this, what some people call a wedge, to the bottom trend line of the wedge, finding confluence with the golden pocket. We also have other confluences down there as well, guys. And to me, especially if I'm looking at this from a very large time frame, looking to buy a lot of Bitcoin on spot, for me, if we do come down to that area, I would love to get some Bitcoin at that price. I would absolutely love to. Now, here's something else that we need to keep in mind, all right? Now again, remember, we're being objective here. We're saying we're in a local downtrend that we've been in for 2 months. We're saying that we have a bearish divergence on the monthly time frame, which is a very powerful signal, right? We get red dots on the monthly time frame on market Cipher B. They lead to some downward movement, right? It's not a secret, right? It is a little bit concerning that we put in a bearish divergence right here, and then we put in even another bearish divergence, 2 in a row. That's almost like a double whammy as we see money flow getting lower. And so I'm just saying there is a potential that we do see Bitcoin trading at much lower prices. I know a lot of people don't like to hear that, but we have to be honest and say there is that potential. The chart is telling us that there is that potential, and we have to also look at this as an opportunity where, first of all, I'm a trader, right? So I'm trading this. I don't care if price goes up or down, but I'm also a Bitcoin hodler. And as a hodler, yes, I do care if price goes down because it means my portfolio is going to also go down. However, if we are dollar cost averaging, if we're scaling out of our hodl positions, meaning, and this is something that I practice, and this is something that I think everybody should do. Every time Bitcoin hits a new high, I take some and I convert it into tether. Every time Bitcoin has a dump, I take some of that tether and I put it back into Bitcoin. And it's a very, very, very relaxed way to trade. You don't really even have to know technical analysis to do that. But if we do see Bitcoin back in the 20s, then that is time for me where I'm absolutely going to be dollar cost averaging back into there.